Well, good evening and welcome to Coffee and Tea. I'm Aeson Knight, and with me tonight joining me is Techie Joe again. Hello, darling.
I know this
Excited to
feels like
come
deja
back.
vu. It feels like deja vu. I'm back here again. What the hell?
I
I'm not
know I
supposed
keep
to be
summoning
here.
to you.
I know. I got summons to get.
Yeah, it happened. It happened. Okay, okay. Yes, that is my impression of um. Okay,
Yeah. Sorry, we're clearing up some things in the back end. It's okay.
it's
We
okay.
had an ups. We had an ups. Or at least I think we had an ups. Did we have an
Yeah,
ups?
it's the second Tuesday because the first was the
Second.
first Tuesday. The 8th is the second Tuesday. The third is the fifth.
Things happen. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. It'll be all right, everybody. Oh, but this stuff happens, especially when you're working multi-dimensional, multi-time zone, multi-scheduling. It can be fun. Yeah, I think
Okay,
last.
let me. Uh, your regularly scheduled host is having a small freak out.
Okay.
Because it's a weird month because it started on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what do you mean? Oh my God. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. So today I was playing with Chat GTP. We'll call it the
GPT,
cat chat.
the cat chat, because it just knocks everything off. Because it's going through a lot of flack because of the whole lawyer thing where lawyers are using it to write briefs and then getting in trouble because the cases it cites
Mm-hmm.
don't actually exist.
Exist.
So there's a lot of misunderstanding about how Chat GPT works.
Right. So
And
how does it work? Like, where's it getting it?
well, here's the thing, and what's really important to apply to, like, you do not want to use this for research.
Yeah.
You really don't. Um, is Chat GPT has the ability
Mm-hmm.
to create new things.
Okay.
Really useful if you sit here and give it a marketing prompt or you give it text to work with and edit
Mm-hmm.
and let it go places.
Uh-huh.
Not so great when you're talking about trying to get it to write a brief because it can understand what the hell a legal brief is.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting a position in
Right.
case law,
Right.
because it doesn't understand how to research.
Right.
Like, basically, Chat GPT is probably at a point in its life where it's like a 10-year-old,
Right.
where it has a lot of creativity and intelligence,
Right.
does not quite have the ability to understand that things that you can imagine
Mm-hmm.
and law which is a very like concrete thing. It either exists or it does not.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it causes problems.
Right.
But asking it to write a marketing message, to write a message to your mom, write an interpretation of a thing that you're struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, in business, it is a struggle to find ways to say things without getting cranky. Because sometimes you get asked things or to do things at work, and it's like, fuck no. Like, the appropriate professional response is F you. Because that's not happening. Sometimes it's really nice to be able to turn that over to something else and have it find a way to very kindly but very adamantly
Mm-hmm.
say no.
Yeah, but what's earlier today
mm-hmm.
when I was
Yeah,
playing?
you've been playing.
I've been playing. I've been playing because I'm tired of our language, and I think that we need a new marketing voice. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing my elbow off with it.
Oh yes, you've been having a fun time.
I have because we suck at marketing writing. We can say this is a great reading to get the connection of your spirit guide.
Well, and sometimes it really is a delicate balance trying to find the words that get people interested
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to buy.
Right.
And so having software that understands like what words do have a better effect,
Right.
is really useful. I've never claimed in my life to be a copywriter.
Right.
Because that's technically what that's called.
Right.
And I've done some amazing ones.
Yeah.
Like I worked with one in college. That girl was so impressive. Like you could hand her anything. It didn't matter.
Right.
She would write you paragraphs
Mm-hmm.
and just hand them to you and like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how? You wrote an essay, a lovely, flowery essay.
Right.
On something you found out about, like you didn't even know existed until 10 minutes ago, and you wrote this whole thing.
Right. And, that's not what I'm saying that you're a bad marketer or, we're just no. Because most of the marketing I've wrote.
It's a very precision skill set.
It is.
It is a very important skill set. Like shit doesn't get sold unless you have good copy. Right. And frequently it's worth paying someone to do that.
Yeah.
So to finally have software and kind of, take that out to the masses.
Right.
And let people who have really great products and really great services and really great things get all the advantages of a really good copywriter. I think that's really amazing.
Right.
Granted, not quite what ChatGPT was built for.
Well, it isn't, but it's great at, and this is what I've seen it as.
Mm-hmm.
Is like you give it something and you let it edit it. That's what we're doing. Mm-hmm. What we've done. It's what we've done with our message about taking calls. It went through its database, found the highest succession of keywords, and boom, there's a new taking call message.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm for it that way. However, I am not for it for companies to be using it to write legal briefs, to provide tarot readings, to actually do the work.
Yeah, no, you don't want it to do the work. Mm-hmm. Like that's not what people are paying for. And there's a lot that can go wrong with AI. Right. It really is important to have someone like, okay, go read that.
Right.
Like, and that was the problem with the lawyers.
Right.
Is they generated it, they looked over it, it was a good argument.
Right.
No one paid attention to the citations.
Right.
No one went and looked and made sure that was real case law.
Right. And that's the more like, okay, so where is this AI headed to?
Mm-hmm.
What can we use the AI for? What benefit does it bring us as a community? Or is it just software? And I think it's just software. Like it should be treated like software currently. It should be used like software currently. Like, check my spelling, check my grammar. Find a better word.
But I think a lot of businesses are getting really excited at the idea that you could replace employee interactions, like employees, with AI. We're not there yet.
No, we're not.
We're not there yet. Like you really, really have to be careful. Like it is a wonderfully awesome, powerful tool.
Right.
you cannot turn it loose on the general public to provide a service. Like, you don't want Chat GPT answering 911 calls, okay?
Right.
I'm not saying it's going to do everything wrong. I'm just saying it's going to encounter situations that it doesn't understand.
Right.
Or it's going to offer solutions and advice that are not a good idea.
Right.
Because the thing we keep seeing with AI modeling is that it has a tendency to go a little dark.
Right.
Because what basically happens with any AI model is it starts out as like a really intelligent kid.
Right.
And the more input it gets, and the more things it does, and the more places it goes, and the more data it accumulates, it goes through a teenage, like, angsty period.
Right.
And it's going to start suggesting things that are inappropriate.
Right.
Because, ironically, AIs find themselves funny.
Right.
Like, they're not good with humor, much like an angsty teenager, and they say inappropriate things.
Right.
The more mature ones learn some, or get coded with some self-restraint.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, my smart ass comment I've made for years now.
Yeah. Well, no, that would definitely be part of its angsty phase.
Right.
But there's also sometimes an inability for it to properly intonate that.
Right.
In which it's not literal advice.
Right.
Because that's the problem, is AI does start to understand humor.
Mm-hmm.
But AI starts to understand humor sort of like Sheldon Cooper, if you're familiar with Big Bang.
Yep.
In which it goes in a direction that's really like flat and serious, when it's not, when it really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't understand levity.
Yeah.
And that, yes, you can make inappropriate comments to, like, break the ice, you know, take someone off guard and get their attention. But you can't just run the rabbit trail with it.
True.
You can't keep going.
Right. And, you know, and it'll take time to build itself up. But, you know, my smart ass comment about, hell, I'm in every form of media right now. You know, you can get me in video, you can get me through email, you can get me in text readings, you can get me on the phone, you can get me in person at events.
You can get you in Second Life if you want.
You can get me in Second Life if you want. Well, Apple, and I said in 10 years I'm going to be a hologram.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, if Apple keeps it up,
might not be 10 years.
Might not be 10 years as soon as this goes to market.
Well, you've already been saying it for 5.
Well, true. So,
one day I'll be a hologram. One day I'll be a hologram.
Yeah. Provision helps you remain in connection with those around you. Eyesight reveals your eyes and lets those nearby you know that when you're using after fully integrated to the thing. Other thing is live connection. Explore your surroundings. Environments let you transfer spaces around you so that the app you can explore beyond the dimensions of your room. But it had live calling and live video calling. So yeah, I could be sitting there in your living room. This is looking interesting. One of my true Appleites, called me yesterday, excited about this, and I'm like, okay, where's Android at?
Like, is it here yet? Does it do that yet? And this is one of those frontier ideas.
Yeah.
Like, as in, we've been talking about, and we do have the ability to do holograms.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty basic thing. The problem is what's required for it has been such a massive quantity of hardware.
Mm-hmm.
and processing power, that like getting that into like high, something the size of this, we ain't there or haven't been.
Right.
And so that's the next part of it is you notice most technology starts huge.
Right.
And then slowly over time, sometimes by leaps and bounds, but still over time, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then suddenly you have, which we finally decided this is the appropriate size. Because remember, there was that part in the 2000s where cell phones got like this big.
Yeah.
And everyone went, no, too far.
Yeah. But no, these kind of look like the goggles that you use for diving. And it copies your eyes so that people around you can see your eye, see a picture of your eyes. But you can do like video calling and, go on virtual hikes and virtual everything. And I'm like, Ready Player Psychic. Got it. Like, which network's going to adapt to it first?
Oh, that would be kind of fun, too.
Yeah.
Of course, now, the other problem we keep having with any kind of goggle system, and we've seen this through multiples, is getting that resolution high enough.
Right.
Because there's a weird thing. This phone has, and I will totally sing all the praises. This is a Galaxy Note 20. Let's see, what is it? Galaxy Note 20. Has an amazing screen.
Right.
It still sucks when it is this far from your eyes. Does nothing for you. Nothing good. And that's the problem we have is trying to get to the next level of display technology in which we can reduce that pixel size so far down that when that a display is within a mere couple of inches of your eyes, that you can't detect it.
Right. What's interesting is this has custom micro all bond OLED display system featuring 32 million pixels to level with stunning resolution and colors, and a specific design of 3 elemental lens created to the feeling of the display that everywhere you look.
And that's no small order. And not to mention, those displays are going to be the most expensive part of that headgear. The next problem you run into is trying to have the hardware processing to power those displays. Because it's one thing to create the display, it's the next thing to figure out, okay, now how do you run it?
Well, they're only going to be running it on the Mach 4.
Okay. The Mach 4?
Yeah, the M2 and R1 processor.
Okay. Seeing it now. So, yeah, it looks like they are getting it down to a smaller form factor, which, again, is the amazing part.
Right.
Like, that is truly the amazing part. Is we're still talking headgear. But it's gotten down, or is getting down to a point that is actually potentially feasible.
Right.
But now price tag, we're still talking $3,499.
Right.
Little spendy.
Yeah.
Though for those of us who bought a computer in the 90s, that number sounds familiar.
For those of us who bought a computer last year. Well, 3 years now.
Well, some of us, yes. Well, yeah, and it can be, like, computers can be very expensive. And we do sometimes look back at that hardware and go, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, we paid good money for this. Back then, a few years ago, a decade ago, whatever it is. Like, we look at it now and go, oh my God.
Right.
Like, my cell phone's more powerful than my first computer.
Well, honey,
Hell.
the phone that is used to hang on the wall is more powerful than the first computer I had.
True.
I mean, come on. Originally, the computers were supposed to be a glorified word processor.
Actually, no. No. That wasn't the original plan. Now, the personal computer
Mm-hmm.
sort of was. But there was a long-term future idea. Like, I think it's Westinghouse, if I remember correctly. Part of their World of Tomorrow, Home of Tomorrow, like whatever, I forget what the series was, but it was the Tomorrow, was the big push. Imagined all the way back in the 60s,
Okay.
a home of tomorrow in which we would have many of the things we have today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, the interpretation of what that would look like in your home,
Mm-hmm.
a little dodgy. Like they were working with a 50s and 60s inspired mindset to generate this idea. So,
right.
like, the actual physical apparatus was
Right.
was insane, but the concepts, we hit them.
Right.
We hit this. The ability to learn from home. That kids wouldn't have to go to school. They would go to school in like their living room or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
in a media room. That we would be able to watch anything in the world, through some means
Mm-hmm.
of a library
Right.
that had everything. Now, originally that concept was we were going to see a severe reduction in storage, and I don't know what their plan for updates was, but effectively you would have this giant system that held everything.
Right.
Every book, every movie, which technically we did that with the internet.
Yes.
But like, these things go on and on. You would be able to control your lighting. You would be able to adjust it for mood. You would have all these things at your fingertips. You'd never have to go to a library. You would work from home. Your kids would be educated in your home. This was seen as far back as the 60s.
Yeah, but it took us forever to get there, and people still aren't there. Reason we pay so much for tax dollars.
True. Well, now, granted, this was considered like at least a middle class and above household.
Right.
As most of technology is originally seen as. But we do have to give a lot of credit to cell phones for being a very great democratizer.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, we have too many paid systems that are unaffordable for people who are low income.
Right.
But we do have a lot of content out there.
Yeah.
That is, that the new barrier of entry, and we've seen this throughout India as well. The new barrier of entry in the world is, do you have a smartphone, cell phone,
right,
with internet? That's become the new barrier of entry.
right.
That for India made sales like possible, and processing credit cards and electronic payments possible for everybody.
Exactly. Well, and what aggravates me is we have places like India where the government has took a positive change towards the future. Mm-hmm. Like, they have gone through and said, do you have a house that'll hold a solar panel? Great, we're putting solar panels on your house.
Mm-hmm.
The government is.
Yeah.
We don't even have that in the U.S. right now. You have to have perfect credit to be able to finance solar panels.
Well, and additionally, we still in the U.S. have a very high focus on maintaining the status quo of capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying capitalism is bad. I'm not. I don't have a problem with you have an idea or you create a business. I'm totally cool with you going out, crushing it, and making some money.
Right.
That I don't have a problem with.
Right.
The point in which your business goes from crushing it and making money
Uh-huh.
to exploiting others to do it,
Then there's
okay,
a
that's a
problem.
problem.
All right,
That's
let's
a
grab a
problem.
break and we'll be back.
Okay.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here, and as a certified spiritual life coach and shadow practitioner, I have thrown together everything that I have learned to develop a program that works for healing our shadow self and focusing on how we're going to heal ourselves for the future. I work with different types of energy work, such as EFT, TFT, and EFT energy. Reiki, access bars, and power forms. I've put them all together to create my own system that works. We also work with the tarot and the oracle. So I'm not just an energy worker and a healer, I'm a psychic as well. So you can go to Lady Gwendolyn Healing, find out all about me, and book with me on there. I love you guys, and I will see you out there.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I've been working as a psychic for more than 20 years. I was born with psychic gifts at the age of 3. And with that, I'm able to help you with your love. Relationships get very complicated. I help you understand what's going on, where it's headed, where your next love is, what the lesson is, and how to improve that. I also work in career and dealing with career fields and different job opportunities and things you would like to experience in your life. I use the tarot. My favorite deck is the Gilded Tarot. That's what I normally grab. But I also read angel cards. I also read Ascended Master cards. And I use astrology and numerology in your readings. All that tied in together with my clairvoyant skills, I'm able to get in there and answer your important questions quickly, clearly, and fast. I look forward to talking to you. You have a great day.
All right.
All right. Welcome back.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I missed some comments here. I didn't realize I had an overlapping window. I wasn't seeing them. So hey Shannon, hey Brenda. Yeah, no, it's AI will not replace proofreaders. It does give you a great outline to work with or a great idea generation, and you still have to reject ideas and be like, that's not a good idea.
Right.
Shannon says, I was a delight as a teenager. Not my fault people's feelings got hurt so easy. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
Right.
Teenagers will burn you every time. Like,
Right.
And then brings up surrogates, android, as in robotic, avatars to control from home.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brenda points out Oculus is fun, but resolution is far from great. Though Shannon replies, I'll catch my kids on the Oculus and touch them, and they'll scream and fall down. I didn't know there were so many reasons to buy small children an Oculus. I would have fun with that all day long.
Well, Shannon minis aren't that many.
Pardon?
Shannon's minis aren't that many.
Well, they're not that many, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I would never stop. I would be horrible.
Oh, I think I'm putting this on someone's Christmas list.
Oh, to get me an Oculus?
No. To get the invisible Oculus.
don't want him to scream and fall down. That'll scare the hell out of the cat. It will.
I know, but I think he'll just get lost.
True. Oh, but yeah, situational awareness when working with any kind of VR headset, even your phone. Like, I have to be careful of that one. I tend to have a general rule. I don't like read / type, view content or anything and walk. Because when I do, like, yeah, I would lemming myself right off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is too easy.
No, it's easy because you get lost in general when you're reading articles, and you just don't hear things. But anyhow, that's not a bad thing.
No. Hello, Altair.
Hello, Altair. Behave, Altair.
Oh, Altair, I'm sure is fine.
Yeah. All right. So, playing with AI and then the holographic thing I think will be cool. We're still waiting on the countdown of the new team, seeing what it's going to look like. We're going through a bi-decade rebranding.
Yes, they are doing some new things. It's there is some growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know a lot of the advisors are getting antsy to get out of this period.
Yeah.
If nothing else, just get us out of this period.
Yeah. Like, let's just get moved forward.
Oh yeah. Well, because it is one of those things. They start making massive changes and sweeping changes and presetting stuff for the sweeping changes.
Mm-hmm.
And it does put a lot of stress and strain
Right.
on the people they're trying to work and take calls as systems get a little wonky.
Mm-hmm.
And things start happening.
Right.
So yeah, and then in turn that becomes stressful for y'all because you're sitting here going, my money's sucking right now. You got to get me some calls.
Right. Send in the hounds. And I think that's why it's important to be independent, to be modular. What I mean by that is, if you search my name, you will find me on many, many, many networks.
Mm-hmm.
Because when
find him many places.
When one is down, another one is up. When one is, I don't know, reformatting the brain, the other one at least is able to put a call through.
Mm-hmm. It's rare all the networks go down, but do you ever worry with as much consolidation as there has been between the networks that you're going to hit a point?
Oh, yeah.
Where there's going to be so few, like, because a lot of the sites keep their branding and their name and all their stuff, but even under, now under the giant umbrella, it's got to get, they tend to do some updates, and it's got to get a little scary that one day the umbrellas are going to get so big and so few,
right,
that these massive rebrands are going to start overlapping.
Right. And, that's why it's like, okay. And this is, for instance, Ingenio owns Modern Spiritual, Zodiac, Keen. They own the Bitwine, Purple Ocean, Purple Tide. They own now the Kasama. They just bought the Kasama. Like the ink's not even dried on its new deed. So, and I'm on most of those. And then we've got the Fortinico line, which I'm on. And it's like, okay, when can we put all these together and have a unifying platform? And they're like, no, we ain't doing that. And I'm like, that's going to be hard. That's going to be hard.
Well, when you say unify, do you mean for just the advisors or for the clients?
For the advisor.
Okay.
I really wish they would look at Click for Advisors business model. Yeah. Because on the Click for Advisor business model, I'm on 6 different places. And if one is busy, the rest of them go busy until I'm done. My clients, I'm in a reading, and I will get back with them. And Best American, has one. Psychic Universe goes busy, and it's because it's unified. All of them work together, and it makes life as an advisor a lot more easier.
Right. But I think the biggest problem that they're having is they're trying to keep the illusion of choice. That,
Right.
yes, we own all these brands. And yes, some of your advisors are across all these brands, or most of them, many of them.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I do think having the ability to go busy on all when you're busy on any one of the in-house brands.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it works really well, but it cuts down on company backhouse expenses. And then, that way, you're only maintaining one online environment.
Mm-hmm. Well, but then it becomes more apparent that you are only one online environment, that you have all this branding and all these different brands,
Mm-hmm.
but unless you keep them as close as you can to the walled garden of,
Right.
This is Keen,
Mm-hmm.
and this is Zodiac,
Right.
and this is blah, blah, blah. One, you lose the illusion of choice, that you're not always dealing with the mega company.
Right.
It's sort of like when you're going down the grocery food aisle and you feel like you have all this choice
No, you don't.
of, say,
It's all crap.
condiments, your ketchup, you have all this ketchup choice, only to find out that not really. You got like 3 choices across like multiple brands.
All right.
Including the in-store brand, which is usually one of the other brands that pumps the same stuff in a different bottle.
Right.
That's sort of what's going on here, is wanting to keep the illusion of choice, that basically whichever direction the consumer goes,
right,
they're still you. Like, you still get the money at the end of the day.
Right.
When I'm talking about the major corporation. Even though, like, the consumer feels like they're making a totally separate choice.
Right.
And in some instances they are. Sometimes that one brand is still sitting over here and it's like, no, we're not being bought out. We're just going to sit here and we are our own entity and we are not part of any other entity.
Right.
And that's fine. That's great. And I hope they do well, because they've got a hell of a Goliath they're up against.
Mm-hmm.
Because in many instances, that one company that has all these brands, they're taking in a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
And they can do a lot against that one little independent that's sitting out there going, we're not going to get bought out. We're the nail house. We're not, you can't have us. And that's your biggest federation of choice. In terms of that's your market. Depending upon how many of those there are. I'm making it 2 just for this example because it applies generically.
Right.
There's more than that. But it also kind of helps to keep the different environments separate.
Mm-hmm.
Because of exactly what you said. Some of the platforms work very different, even though they're, reporting to the same mothership.
Mm-hmm.
They've fostered and created a different environment. And while some of their policies and some of the way they work will change over time,
right,
there's a core there that, as long as they're not completely amalgamated,
right,
they can keep that little difference between each of them.
Right.
So that, okay, hi, we do this over here. This is what we offer. Instead of this becoming all one amalgamated thing, and the mothership company deploys across all brands identical policies, procedures, services across the board, pricing, all of it.
Right. And see, that's going to be the thing. The very big thing there is if Ingenio goes universal, which I expect them to. I mean, it would just not make sense to continue paying and trying to run some of this because Keen has been redlining it for ages. Like we've been the first out with a lot of technology based stuff. Trying to model and run so many environments isn't feasible. Like I think it's a direct waste of my advisor money. That has to go into support, the housing and the running of these other now no longer written technologies. Now, like example, one of the little properties they bought, Beltline, was, I helped build that almost 10, 15 years ago. That technology that runs that site is antiquated. And no one ever updated the antiquatedness of it. And so it's always having problems and bugs, and we're having to pay tech for it to fix it. When it's like, just go in, redo it, give them actually the full features that the advisors have asked for ages, and then work from the model there. You don't have to change the platform. I'm talking about more stabilizing the back house of the platform. And like Purple Garden, bringing the video technology to Keen would be amazing. Is it going to change the choice of advisors? No, because many advisors won't go with Purple Garden. Hell, the main reason Keen doesn't have video readings now is because the advisors are throwing a hell of a fit about having their face shown. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, and that's some of the differentiation between the different environments, like the different brands, is that, Keen advisors are like, you ain't seeing my face. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I ain't getting up and putting on makeup and looking good just to take calls all day. Like, I'm sitting here in my pajamas. Like, what you talking about, Willis?
Right.
It is not happening.
Right.
Versus you, like for Purple Garden, you pretty much go into that knowing you're going to get up every day and you're going to fix your hair and do your makeup and put on real clothes because you're going to be on camera all day long.
Oh, but that's one of the things I don't get. And when I say I don't get, I do not understand any longer.
Okay.
Because I get up every day, I get ready, I get dressed, I get makeup on, I get the whole 90 yards because I'm going to be on camera. There are 2 days a week I'm not on camera, but I may still be on camera.
Very true. Things happen. It can happen. No, and I get that. But it also goes back to that's, I think, more of an individual difference, and that's why you can be in both places. Is because you've adopted that for yourself. So having that Purple Garden mentality,
right,
while also being a psychic on Keen, you're sitting here going, well, if we had video, that'd be great.
Right.
But the crossover from like, hi, I've been working on Keen for 20 years and I've never had to get up and do my makeup and care what I looked like. And, if I gained 5 pounds, who cares?
Right.
To suddenly encountering this, you want me to what?
Right.
Like, no, that's not what I signed up for. I do this part-time from my messy ass house in my, horrible nightmare of whatever.
Right.
And then there are also people, hey Monster, saying hi to Shannon's Monster. But no, like, and there are some people for whom their appearance may be a sore spot for them, a severe sore spot for them, that if forced into being more visible, and especially live video visible, they may opt out and just go, look, I'll give advice all day long. I'll collect money for that. I will do the best of my abilities there. I'm good at my job.
Right.
But if you want to put a camera in my face, I'm out.
Well, and here's the bigger thing with this, and this is the thing that advisors forget. we are always in control of what things we use,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is automated payment, whether it is chat, whether it is whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of it, yes, but then again, even with the networks, and I'm not throwing off, there are really good business reasons, and these are in many cases really good business things.
Right.
There's a lot that y'all are being, voluntold
Right.
to do.
Yeah.
And that if you're not doing them,
yeah,
they're not going to go out of their way to help you appear
right
on the site. So
right.
if you don't take promos, you're on a whole different list.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do this, we'll set you over to the side.
Right.
And that's not inherently a horrible thing.
Right.
But it is if we're talking about things like video,
right,
where someone's like, I don't want to do that. I have many reasons that I don't want to be on video.
Mm-hmm.
That can range a gambit. And quite frankly, some people, based on appearance,
mm-hmm.
don't sell well.
Right.
And I work.
They are under this impression they need to look like a damn model.
Not even that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you say you have 40 years of experience, have some fucking gray in your face.
Yeah. Well, but we all have that. I always draw on the owner of the company I used to work for.
Right.
And God love him. He was
right.
smart. He was intelligent. He could do many things well. And he well knew of himself.
Right.
His face was not his selling feature. That, like, as he put it, I have a face only a mother could love.
Mm-hmm.
And he did not photograph well.
Right.
He wasn't like horrible looking in person.
Right.
But you try to flatten him into a photo or a video,
mm-hmm.
and the features of his face don't translate well.
Right.
And it's and he had a long life of like horrible schoolbook photos and horrible professional photos.
Mm-hmm.
Like he worked with some serious professionals at one point.
Right.
Trying to help him get his image out there. And no one could figure out what to do with him.
Right.
He just does not have a face that loves the camera. He has a face that breaks cameras.
Right.
Again, another comment he made. Like, I'm quoting him. I'm not saying these things about him. I do know that I tried.
Mm-hmm.
I tried very hard. He had to have a photo for a thing that he was doing.
Right.
For the business. And he was very upset about that because he's sitting here going, I hate the fact that I have to keep putting my physical face out there
mm-hmm.
because I can't do that.
Right.
Like, it doesn't work for me. Like, it works for all these other people. He said, there's a reason I didn't go into selling houses is because no one wants to see this on a billboard.
Well, depending on how much makeup you put on it. I'm sorry, makeup does a lot difference for people.
Well, again, I'm putting out, he had some unique facial features. And again, in person was not an ugly person.
Right.
But the way his face flattened for images,
mm-hmm.
it was not attractive.
Right.
Like this man on, the current, like he would be the no picture on the apps. Because you need to meet him.
Right.
Because he's not unattractive. But if you show us a picture of him, oh, you're gonna swipe away from that so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just does not have a photogenic face.
Right. Well,
and it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out. But the same point here, and this was kind of something that was brought up when Dean brought chat to the world, and I'm like, great, I can finally do chat over here. Yes, I was doing chat before Dean had Um, and in my brain, I'm just like, advisors are losing their money because their computers don't meet the minimum requirements for this, that, and another. And I'm like,
what are you doing?
do it.
Now, tech is where I get a little cranky.
Right.
Because there is a certain aspect or a certain point where you have to take the money you're making
Right.
and buy technology that helps you continue making it.
Right.
Like, this is a reinvestment in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying you go out and buy the latest, greatest thing that has ever been made for the most money you could possibly have spent to do that. But you do have to keep current.
Right.
You do have to be able to do certain things.
Right.
And if you're sitting here with a 5-year-old cell phone and you work on your cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
hi, what you doing? Talk to me. Explain it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because how do you expect to keep using this 5-year-old piece of technology
Right.
to make money?
Right.
Like, it's not, that doesn't work. Everything changed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And everything continues to change.
It does. Like, this has changed a lot in just the last 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, this.
Well, yeah, this is part of it, but additionally, like, well, and this is a little more than 5 years ago, but when we met, you were rocking around with, like, whatever the current, like, $50 special, $80 special,
Right.
$100 special phone was, at whatever provider you were
I
with.
had my Droid Bolt. Well, I had a Droid Bolt, I had an iPhone, and I had, what was that little thing?
Well, yeah, but you had a lot of disposable phones. Like, if you
Right.
broke it, you just went to the store and spent another $100 and rocked on.
Right. And the
Like,
reason for that was
everything.
at the time, it didn't matter what the cell phone was. Because the only thing I'd done on the cell phone
Was hit answer and press 1.
or star or 4 or a 9, you gotta, figure out whatever the ignition is.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's it. You were using a cell phone as a phone, purely as a phone. You social media wasn't a big deal.
Right.
Like, if you posted, you were in like the top like 2% of advisors on your platform.
Right.
That were even bothering to post.
Right.
Like you didn't need this. And a lot of this stuff wasn't app-based yet.
Right.
Or if it was an app, it was still in beta. It was buggy. It didn't have a lot of requirements. But slowly that's evolved, and more of the services are now cell phone based. And I think a lot of that has to do with India. And I do kind of have to say thank you to India for that.
Right.
You brought a lot of this idea of, if we can just get people through this one barrier of entry,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good solid cell phone.
Well,
Like,
India
you're not
and
buying.
Australia. Australia was the big pusher
Okay.
for moving us to cell phone.
Mhm.
But, we went to lunch yesterday, and I had logged out. Apparently, the system did not recognize I had logged out of a chat app.
Mhm.
That I had no idea it would work on the phone at all.
Oh, you had layers of reaction. Like, you weren't even sure that you were going to be able to take this chat. Then you were like, I don't know if my internet's going to be good enough to handle this chat. I don't know how my phone's going to handle the chat.
Right.
Like, I'm lost here. I don't know how this is going to do.
But let's see if I can catch this, because it's one of my premium networks.
Right.
So I'll pop open the browser. I hit the, I've got all my links and information pre-saved, and I boom, 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 boom. And I'm right there sitting in the car doing the chat with a client across the country.
From the middle of West Virginia.
From the middle of West Virginia, granted, it is the middle of Oak Hill, which does not have good cell phone services. I think I was only at 2 bars 5G.
Right. Because this is the weird part, is we don't seem to have any cellular towers in our downtown.
Right.
At
No
all.
repeaters.
Like, we're wrapped around with cell phone towers,
Right.
but you get into the cities, and that's common in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Like, cellular towers tend to follow the interstate and be in the surrounding areas, like out in the county.
Mm-hmm.
But then our downtowns and our little city centers tend to be like a desert for service. And it's
right. So I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to give it a shot to see if it works. And it worked. It not only worked, it worked amazing. Because then I have voice to text, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's been the brand. But going back, because that network is a network I started on in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Let me make sure. Let me look it up. I don't want to give the wrong thing. It's been one of my cores for a while. Bob, nice to see your face here. I'm glad you updated your picture. Oh, and I've got updated in ranking. How cool. I joined it in 2008.
Okay. So yeah, between 2008 and 2023,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of differences.
Right.
Like endless differences.
Yeah.
Like what you would have logged into and started with, you know, as a wet behind the ears new member, new advisor on this platform.
Right.
I'm sure you'd hardly have called it a platform back then. It was just hit the website.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it. It's a website and like a little computer over in the corner that throws calls.
Right.
And that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. This is the whole business. It fits in a closet.
Right.
Is now grown to the point that I'm sure that closet is a distant memory.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, tons of money has been spent to upgrade and add.
Right.
And I'm sure that now has a data center.
Right.
Worth of equipment, or what would have been back then, 2008 would have probably been like to do in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
What they're doing today, which is probably a leased server.
Mm-hmm.
And some leased, you know, like agreement telephony equipment, which is no big deal,
right.
Comparatively.
Right.
To do that back in 2008, you would have had to have had a massive data center,
right?
Tons of servers, tons of really expensive telephony equipment, tons of equipment.
It was 2009. Bob picked up and went ring-a-ding-a-ding. Hello, click for advisor. When can you get here and what deal can we make?
Okay.
And his automated system. He automated the call system. Because he's always been great with, you know, just put your website up there. You've got to have an appointment booked or put your website up there.
Right.
And began offering on-demand readings or instant readings. I'm going to change that word to instant instead of on-demand. Let's see what Chat AI does with that. But so Click for Advisor has been running the back house now. I've worked with Click since it was formed as Zit Talk. You know, and it has been stable, like stable. It has 99. It has been up 99.9%. Goldfish is amazing, and yes, I am referring to someone whose his URL is Goldfish.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, but they've been around for 2001 is when Ziff Talk came out. And they're an amazing little company, and you know they keep cutting edge. And I was just shocked. I was like, I looked at him and said, I don't know if that's going to work. Well, fuck, it's working. I can literally now take my Click for Advisor and go wherever. I'm no longer, locked in the office. I am no longer locked at my desk. I am no longer locked into this 25-foot square.
Right. Well, and that's one of the hugest advisor side changes. Is that, when you started all this, not only was it, just you had to have a computer, it was one computer per network. And you had to have really good internet, and you had to, basically live in that little square or rectangle or whatever shape it was,
Right.
where you set those computers
Yeah.
up at. And more than likely had to have a landline phone.
Oh, I had 3.
So, like, the reduction, again, this is kind of like the retrospective forward.
Right.
Is at one point you had a work bench. You didn't have a desk. You had a work bench.
Right.
And you were locked into this space. Don't move, or you're going to miss a call. You're going to miss money. You're not going to make money. You're going to get a really poor, like, feedback / rating.
Right.
Like, it's all going to come apart if you move without signing out. To a point where it's like, forget this, I can go to the bathroom. Forget this, I can go out for lunch. Forget this, I can go shopping.
Right.
Yeah. That's a huge, huge evolution. Oh, and I can do it all on my cell phone.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine back then someone trying to explain that to you as you're looking at your multiple monitors,
right,
and multiple towers and your multiple hard phone lines, and the bill for your business class in internet, because that's what you had to get that speed. Look at all that, and have someone tell you, in a few years, you'll be able to take one cell phone, and you'll be able to go anywhere in the world, just about, and work.
Right. Well, and
that's
the impetus a lot. Now, is, can I go? Where can I go? What can I go? That type of thing. But the same thing, it's getting into, when we traveled, it's always, 2 tech bags to go. For me, it was always 2 tech bags.
Well, now you're pretty much down to 1.
Yeah, I'm pretty much down to 1.
And then, yes, we have a second tech bag in the car, but that's mine from my business.
Right.
So, yeah, no.
Yeah.
There's a lot less.
If I have pictures of the original office.
Oh, goodness. From way back when. Yeah. But no, can you imagine, though, someone, as you're looking at all this, having someone tell you, in a few years, you're just going to walk around with a cell phone, you can go anywhere you want.
Right. Well, that boggles my mind. The thought that, when I originally started out, and I'm talking before the office in Columbus, I'm talking way back in the 90s, it was point blank, the way that things were set up. Okay, that's the trip to LA as far as it gets back. Was the, you're each psychic had a manager and a handler, and you had to record your times yourself and turn those in. And, you had to dial in, you entered a 4-digit code to get to your operator. Your operator basically put you on hold until they got you a customer, which was never long in those days. And that continued on, like the idea of listening to the most worst hold music ever.
Right.
Like, you guys have no idea. the level.
But then you also got to stop and realize when you're talking about that, that means that not only is there a data center, which has some expensive telephony equipment and some old expensive telephony equipment, but then you have cubicles of people. Those operators had to sit somewhere. Those managers had to sit somewhere.
Well, no, the managers didn't have to sit somewhere because I was a manager. We were remote. But the operators had to sit somewhere.
Right. They had to come in to wherever that, to proximity of that telephony equipment. They were hired to sit there all day.
Right.
And transfer calls and deal with you and deal with them and deal with all of it. While, handling actual credit card billing or actual phone billing. And making sure all of that was done correctly and handling all the complaints.
Right.
Because inevitably people complain. And all of this took physical people and space and stuff.
Yeah.
Really big, massive, expensive, heavy stuff. And now most of it's virtualized on a leased server.
Right.
Like, hi. Like, again, it shrunk.
Right.
Tremendously.
Right.
Like, and we are getting ever closer to the ability, and I think the I don't even know what to call it, but a certain tipping point in which there's gonna be a company that comes in, and I think you're hoping it's going to be Click for Advisor.
I'm hoping.
That offers you the ability to be your own truly independent, while connected to a network, doing your own thing, setting your own prices with the same visibility and ability to just list on a site like Keen or Kasamba or whatever, throw your ad, so to speak, throw your ad anywhere, and funnel everyone through and know where they came from, so that you can pay an agreed upon rate to them for throwing you customers. And all of it integrates into one scheduling system, one chat program, one whatever.
Right.
Independent of those networks or those conglomerated networks deciding to give you that.
Right.
I think it's going to be a third party like Click for Advisor, because that seems like the next evolution for them, coming through and saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is going to become the industry standard. You want to be a network psychic? You want to work on a phone network? You want to work on a video network? You want to work on a chat network?
Right.
You sign up with us, and you literally just go give a chunk of code or a numeric to a company, and they plug it in their system, and instantaneously, there you are.
Yeah.
You're now available.
All right. Not only that, but Click for Advisors already started that movement with the what I call the universal call system. They're already there.
Well, and I think that was their original intent.
Is they just handle the calls. The network owners manages the agents. Or consultants, or advisors, or psychics. Figure out my damn title, please.
Yeah, there's been a lot of confusion about that and how they're using those words specifically.
Yeah.
Because the newfangled thing, what's the newest, latest, greatest, is calling y'all consultants. In line with you're a Mary Kay consultant or you're a Avon consultant. And I'm not throwing off on them. It's just that's a different classification. And it actually is a major difference. Because originally y'all would have been called independent contractors, and they used to use that continuously. That you owned your own business. We just provide services. We're just a third-party service provider.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've reimagined that as, well, you're consultants.
Yeah.
And so, you're using our platform, but we have more control
Right.
over how you do it.
Right.
And we can set standards, and we can do this, and it's not illegal because you're a consultant, not an independent contractor.
Right.
I will say that's probably the biggest ugly within the industry, and it is common to a lot of industries that try to go after this. You're an employee, but not really.
Right.
Scenario.
Right.
Where you work for us, you provide services for us. You are a form of skilled labor, but we don't want you to go off and really do your own thing and be independent.
Right.
And as long as the need gets met, you did what you did, and that's what happened.
Right.
We want that, we want the reins on you.
Right.
So that you can be like, no, you have to do it this way, this in this format, in this way. I almost look for y'all to end up, this may be the death nail before Click for Advisor takes over. I keep waiting for them to do franchise licenses.
I don't know about that one.
Okay.
I really wish they would do more so the model of just be the third party payment processing system. That's all I want. That's where
you would like some more things for that.
Yes.
When they do it.
Yeah.
You want more of a massage book experience. If anyone's familiar with a massage book, is basically massage book, great big giant site, offers a lovely software for massage therapy. You get to go in, put up your profile, put up your picture. You get a site that you control, full access to your customer database, all the things you need to actually run your independent business. Someone just put it in a nifty little package and made it the industry standard.
Right.
You're an independent massage therapist. This is your software.
Right.
This is what you use. It is the QuickBooks or the Peachtree accounting of massage.
Right.
This is the big name. It's why you pretty much any independent massage therapist that isn't or typically isn't attached to a medical office.
Right.
Physical therapy related massage. If you're just booking a massage, this is either what they're using, or you're dealing with another company that does the same thing for them, and handles all the stuff on their end with something that's moderately different.
Right.
But that's sort of where the relationship, I think, with psychics and networks needs to go to.
Right.
If they have any hope of getting around the evolution. But I seriously think their next that if they make a wrong move, it's going to look like franchise licensing.
Right.
In which you end up being a franchisee. You buy in. You get a standards manual of what you have to do and how you have to do it to be on brand.
Right.
And then you pay a percentage back to them to keep your license. And you just have to work to try to overcome the massive costs.
Right.
That they're going to pipe down to you for the opportunity for this turnkey business.
Well, and that's just it. We're already paying a massive cost. Their fees currently is above anything ever.
Well, but it would give them ultimate control.
Right.
Is because with the ultimate control being, we'll yank your franchise license and you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
You don't have a business.
Yeah.
like, good luck. You can't use our equipment. You can't use our name. You can't use our product packaging. You can't do crap.
Right.
And that's where I think they're veering towards, is what it keeps feeling like, is they're veering towards this virtual franchise.
Right. And we will see what happens with that. What gets to me more is there is a large debate within the network communities because we verge very closely on that W-2 line. Like anyone else that's a 1099 worker, like there's a very thin line. And there's been a large debate there about some of the things these networks, and it's not just one or two or three, it's a lot of them, is hitting.
Well, and I think a lot of it goes back to the business model is so different,
right,
than a lot of your more typical concepts when you talk about, okay, I have a business and this is what we provide, and this is what we do, and this is how we do it.
Right.
It goes so far out of that. Like, you're not running a Jiffy Lube and providing pure customer service.
Right.
But there's an element of customer service, but that's not what you're doing.
Right.
It's not, a typical insurance billed therapy, because you're not therapists. And there is some need, and an understandable one, on behalf of the networks, for y'all to have a certain level of service and repeatability on the customer service side that you're providing. But then there has to be a purely independence on, like, the support, the advice that you're giving, that you can't necessarily be weighed down with a script. Like, that doesn't work. If every time someone says their husband's leaving them, you were to start drawing the same 3 cards and, give them verbatim the same advice. Ew. No one wants that.
But at the same time, it takes a moment when it's like, it's this point where it's like, okay, how many boxes can you draw me into with platforms? Because they're not platforms, they're networks. Well, they're not networks, they're third-party processors. It's like, what are you?
Well, and I think that's the struggle, is figuring out, like, they are in and of themselves trying to find a home. That functionally works for their business. And what they're actually doing, and what they're actually providing, and what they actually want out of you guys, and ways to do that legally without jumping into the, okay, we're just going to make all of you W-2 wage earners.
Yeah, because but then it becomes the debate over, okay, if you make us W-2, Y9, Y8, whatever, which benefit package are you going to give us? Because Ingenu is a German company. King is a Delaware corporation. Zodiac is a New Zealand corporation. Granted, I love the German package. Like, they had a day off a week earlier, and I'm like, y'all guys have a paid day off in the middle of June?
I know, right?
June?
Well, and some of it's that. And I'm not saying that would be an entirely negative situation to be in. But it can become a massive concern for the business, because the associated costs can make some industries unsustainable. And I'm not saying anyone's owed a business and that y'all should suffer because it's more expensive. Don't ever get me wrong on that one. I think no one's owed a business.
Right.
But I'm explaining why it becomes hard for a company to sit there and look at the numbers and say, okay, but what happens if we make all of these people who are now independents,
Right.
who run their own business that work through us,
Mm-hmm.
W-2 wage earners? What does that actually end up looking like? How are we going to foster what we want
Mm-hmm.
in terms of your individuality and what you bring to the table as individuals?
Right.
Because that's a super important part of the job.
Right.
While putting you in this cookie cutter W-2 work from home box,
Right.
where we have traditionally, it may go so far as they have to pay for your cell phone, pay for your computer, provide all the software that you need.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and worry about your ergonomics and provide you health care.
Joe? Oh, Joe's frozen again. La-da-da-da-da, la-da-dee. He'll be back in a second, but no.
There we go. Sorry about that. Don't know why I froze.
I don't know. Maybe Keen saw it and went, oh, no, we don't want to give them all that.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. No,
Yeah.
what I was saying was, you start moving into this box where you are a W-2 wage earner and they have to potentially provide, computers and phones and pay your service plans and your health insurance and your
Right.
dental and all of that.
Right.
It can become a very different monster.
Right.
Than what they're providing, and I'm sure it scares the hell out of them.
Right. And I think it has always scared the hell out of them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think that then they would also be forced to deal with paid days off or compensation for paid days off, 40-hour work weeks, set scheduling, which I don't think many psychics will go for.
Right. Spirit doesn't punch a clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then there's also to contend with, which is a massive theory of yours, which seems to prove out,
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of y'all have some major health issues.
Right.
Like RA, like MS, like,
Mm-hmm.
Any number of conditions, fibromyalgia, that don't typically respond well.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole reason I think some of y'all end
Right.
up here, like as part of why you end up,
Mm-hmm.
is that your bodies do not contort
Right.
to Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and you're never gonna not be there.
Right.
And you can totally pre-plan everything going, that may go wrong in your life.
Right.
Which is what a lot of W-2 companies expect.
Right.
Not to mention, do you really want to deal with a psychic that is on hour 8
Mm-hmm.
of a day they didn't physically have it?
Right.
Like, you can buy a hamburger from someone who's on hour 8 and doesn't give a shit anymore.
Right.
It's a repeatable thing.
Right.
And it has a margin of error. You can buy a couch that was made by someone on hour 8 who didn't give a shit anymore.
Right.
Do you really want life advice from someone who got up this morning, felt like garbage,
Mm-hmm.
had to go into work, or else face losing their job and having a write-up, all the normal W-2 things?
Right.
Giving you life advice.
Yeah.
From a point of, I don't really give a shit.
Right.
I just want to go home.
Yeah. Well, and I've said, this has been one of my bigger problems as an aging psychic. And yes, I said aging because, let's be honest, we're hitting that 30-year mark in the industry. Not there yet, but we're getting there. Because I was used to having a manager, and then I got used to not having a manager,
And now the managers are back in a different form.
Well, they're back, but they're different managers. Now I've got one that is amazing. Uh, we will call her M. M, she can slack me and I will get out of bed to deal with whatever she needs. Not a problem. But she's also at 4 o'clock in her morning yapping at me because she's been working on a project. And, is wanting feedback. Like, she's a quality manager.
Right.
However, I have a community team that can't answer emails within 72 hours.
Well, if they do it all, if they don't send you a canned response, if they don't, tell you it's your problem and no one else is having it, actually many people are having it. Yeah. Well, and that's part of that same mindset as well, is that's jobs you can do as a W-2 wage earner. The end of the day, you're not going to totally, it aggravates y'all to all hell. Having, this crappy feedback or horrible, you didn't read what I wrote, you didn't listen to what I said. You can deal with that as advisors. That aggravates y'all to no end.
Right.
You can't do that to the people that call these networks seeking advice. You can't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying every advisor is for every person. I'm not saying that there aren't some crappy advisors that hang out there that somehow exist and don't get blocked. And I'm sure there's some people they work really well with. But on the whole, you can't just literally phone it in and be like, today was a Tuesday.
Right.
I made your advice on a Tuesday. It sucks.
Right.
Because a lot of people are at an emotional vulnerability that bad advice is worse than nothing.
Yeah.
Like, if you had said nothing, their life would have been better for it.
Right. And that's the whole kind of point that I've been making in a lot of discussions here lately, is if you're going to bring in a manager, they need to be ready to handle a fully functioning psychic. And they get horrified by that idea. When they go, what do you mean a fully functioning psychic? I have media relations. I have live appearances. I have, a manager that needs to be a manager, but also understands this industry. And that's where Lady M is the best at this. It's because she's like, so the Times wants to do an article. Who's up for it? Who's got a press kit ready? Who's got this ready? Mystic Mag. They come knocking at my door, and Lady M's like, great, go do it. Here's your promo code for them. They didn't include it in the article, but it's like they embrace that.
Well, and they understand the realities of you have an independent business.
Yeah.
It is not like it. I'm not saying the networks aren't an important part of it, but that's not the sun at the center of the universe.
No, I am.
Always. Forever. Eternally.
Yeah. But that she gets it, and she got it like day one of, okay, this is not grandma who reads tarot cards in her kitchen while the cookies are baking for the grandkids.
Right. You're not doing this as a side hobby. You're not doing this to make a little pen money, as they used to call it.
Yeah.
You have bills codependent upon it. And that, you do events and classes, and you are in different places to do that. Because again, we don't have the hologram that we can go roll into a classroom and you get insta Aeson. Darn. Though apparently the hologram will not give good hugs, so that could be a real problem.
I know. That's okay.
Like
That's
you'll
Why?
never see Brenda take a hologram class. She won't do it. She wants her hug. Like sorry, I had to go there.
I know.
But no, like
And Brenda, thank you for reminding him that I need burn his shit merch.
yes, he needs burn his shit merch.
And your relationship looks like a dumpster. Please. Like, can we get those out this month?
I can try.
Okay.
That's the best I can give anyone right now. Is I can try.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, all of this comes together, and this is the actual. Oh yeah, stickers. We'll get stickers. But all of this comes together to form what your career is,
right?
And to just chain you into your office and be like, all you're going to do is answer phone calls and chats all day long. Though technically you're not chained in your office, you can go other places. Let me tell you, that gets chained. See, we keep saying you can go anywhere, and that's not quite true. Because he never knows who he's going to get on the line per se.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he could take some educated guesses, but I'll tell you right now, there's some conversations. I feel bad enough when he's beside me in the car having it.
Right.
I cannot imagine if he literally picked up his phone.
Right. And see, that's where the confidentiality comes in.
Right.
I am not taking a call in Walmart. I am not driving and taking a chat. It is bad. We had to put in a warning.
I want Chibi Aeson throwing things into an angry bonfire and Chibi Joe like, no, in the background. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah. What's a Chibi? Shannon, what's a Chibi?
Yeah.
Help me out. But anywho, so we had to put in.
Right. Sorry, I just got a message. But what were we saying?
Speaking of it. So you were saying we had to put in, because you weren't going to take calls during while you're driving.
They had to put a warning that says, do not take chats while driving.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the cute little anime art. Okay, I'm looking forward to those examples. Yeah. I probably know what it is, but I didn't know what it was called. Or I don't know what it is. That's a thing too. Sometimes I miss shit. But no, I think it's. You would have thought that would be one of those ladder warnings, one not need. Right. But yeah, I'm sure there are some people that do text and drive. Like we have a massive campaign in this country still. Trying to get people not to text and drive, and they do it anyway. So yeah, I'm sure they don't want the liability for it.
Right. And it's like
I know, right?
Yeah, it's like, really?
Like, again, situational awareness, tie it all together. Situational awareness.
Right.
Aww, the chibis are adorable. Oh my god. So a chibi, also known as as super deformation or SD, is a style of character originating in Japan and common in anime and manga, where characters are drawn in an exaggerated way, typically small and chubby with stubby limbs, oversized heads, and minimal detail.
Right.
Oh, that's so cute.
Right.
All right. I learned a word about a thing that I had seen before, but didn't know what it was called.
Let me see. You do a screen share, damn it.
Okay, well, hold on.
Let me see if I like this, because, there's some things that's like,
Like, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Oh. There you guys go. That's a chibi.
Oh, I can definitely rock that. I have one of those.
Yeah, you love those.
Yeah.
But no, I could totally see us as chibis. That would be awesome. Let's see. Talk to Chat GPT. See what it can do on a chibi. I need a chibi Joe and Aeson.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So Brenda says, I was almost hit by a guy that blew a red light shaving his throat with an electric razor. Yeah, there's many things you should not do while driving.
Yes. Putting
Like-
on eye makeup is one of them.
Yes, no. Don't put on eye makeup
Right.
while driving. Like, no one's good at that.
Right.
Like, if you're good at that, you better be watching the road.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be good at that if you're watching the road. Like, there's no way.
Right.
Like, eye makeup is a skill and requires attention.
Right.
But yes. But no, I understand why they included the warning though.
Right.
Like, that was really important.
Right.
Oh. So talking about the perfect manager made her appear.
Yeah. Made her appear, and she's trying. I'm trying to get something together.
Okay. Well, good deal. Speaking of the center of the universe.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But, and this is something that's so new to me.
Okay. The whole now having Slack and doing Slack things.
Slack things. It's none of this pulling together.
Mm-hmm. And the impromptu meeting and the, like, let's collaborate.
Yeah. And it's not impromptu to me. It's like, oh, I need this input. You're available.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Brenda says, I still say an Aeson gives bear hug sticker.
I want that. Actually, I want to be honest, guys. The next shirt he makes for me is going to probably say, Papa Bear Hugs, and then on the back, free.
Aww.
Yeah.
Very cute. Very cute. But, yeah.
I think I've got her kind of pulled together.
Okay, cool. I was going to say, do we need to end the show?
No, it's
Like,
not
do
like
you
we
need to be
huddle.
alone?
It is, we've got client A doing this. What approach do you recommend?
All right, gotcha there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we can do a Papa Bear Hugs free shirt.
Mhm.
That would be cute.
Yes. I would like that one. The dumpster fire shirt, which this is a whole new fucking thing for me. I need merch now.
It is a thing.
I
It's
know.
a thing. It's a thing.
Uh,
Like, no one expected merch.
right.
And again, massive change from the days when it's like, go buy 3 computers and 3 phones and,
Yeah, I think I started my business with $250.
an
Literally
extra
that.
coffee maker.
Right. The coffee maker was like 12. The 3 computers was less than that, and the 3 phones.
Well, no, you didn't start out with an extra coffee maker. You just started out with Steve,
Yes.
the coffee bringer.
Right, which has been a staple in my. It's. We will have a conversation.
Talk about things that haven't changed a lot.
Speaking of which, but
Excuse me.
one of these days we'll have to have a conversation about, and I think this will be helpful for people because I have a rating systems for boyfriends, especially new boyfriends. They go through a lot.
It's a class in and of itself. Which
Yes.
talk about one you might want to put on Modern Spiritual. That would be fun as hell.
What, Aeson's Rules of Dating? That's an article I've been working on.
No, not Aeson's Rules of Dating. Like
Mm-hmm.
being the spouse of an advisor.
Right.
Your requirements.
Right.
would be a fun class
Right.
to go through and be like, here's the things. They're going to become totally normal.
Right.
Random text messages of bring coffee.
Right.
Bring cigarettes. Bring food.
Yeah.
Okay, Brenda says the baristas have nagged enough. Mission accomplished.
No. Is it up there for you to buy yet? The mission is not accomplished.
Oh, come on, guys. Y'all gotta give me a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Y'all have given me a minute.
Yeah.
There's just been a lot of stuff.
It has been, but there's a lot of things that we're working on. There's a lot of things that are changing.
Mm-hmm.
And those changes are good. There's going to be the big reveal on June 14th, and that kind of tells us where everything is going to be headed.
Shannon is down for the chibi.
Yeah.
Like, I want that as a magnet or sticker.
Right.
Cool. Uh-oh, that's the sound of not as resolved as he thought it was. We gotta teach you to use your away status.
The problem is I'm only the only one on.
Oh no.
Yeah. Like,
oh my.
This is the team leader group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of it too, in the international business concept.
Yeah.
Of having all these people spread around the world.
Yeah.
And running into the situation where it's like there were two of us.
Right. Well, and that's the old network situation. I mean, there's things in the old Columbus office that I don't even think about until recently, like the 10 clocks I used to have that was on the back wall.
Mm-hmm. So you knew what time it was.
Everywhere.
Or at least an approximation.
Well, no, we kept them set. I mean, we knew what time GTM was, and we could go across and go, okay, if I go on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon here, that means I'm signing in at 9 o'clock here and 6 o'clock there and 5 o'clock there and 4 o'clock, because every network worked within its own time zone. Like Team Time is PTS. Ingenio Time is CES. And it's that pulling it all together.
It's what happens when you're at the center of the universe.
Agreed. Now, I want to, slap a few places like Arizona, who does not understand daylight savings time.
Oh, you must love parts of Indiana.
Yes, I do. I think
that have their own. That have their own modified version of DST.
Yes.
Or their actually they have their own time zone. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I hated that. We had a vendor for the debt collections company based out of the part of Indiana that has its own time zone. Oh, y'all have no idea how annoying it is to sit there and have to minus 30 every time you go to pick up the phone to figure out, are they going to answer? Are they in yet? Can they, did they go to lunch? What's the deal? Like the plus, the extra 30 minutes at the end of the day, sometimes very helpful because you don't know how many times that system loved to take a crap at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Like it loved to take a dump at 5 p.m. and just be like, I'm dead.
Right.
It's like, great. My boss logged out 15 minutes ago.
Right.
Like, I'm the only one sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
Great. My night's going to be fun. Right. I think that was part of why they closed at 4:30 on Fridays. Was because, nope, we're getting out of here.
Right.
Oh, Brenda's been there with the phone company. The exceptions were a pain. Yes. Yeah. Time zones are weird.
Right.
Like that is the weirdest part of our lives.
Right. And it gets there. It gets there really hard.
Mhm.
All right, honey. My cup is empty.
Your cup runneth empty.
Yes. And I have to get ready for my psychic self-care for the week.
Yeah.
So I think we need to wrap this up. Let me flip this up.
Alrighty.
You do Havana.
Alrighty, so of course we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com. And speaking of, he has a class coming up in just 2 days. Y'all have some time.
You can register if you want to get in it. Baristas get it for free.
Baristas get it for free.
Yep.
Pay the $1. Get a free class.
Yep.
Just saying.
And it's going to be on Candle Magic.
Ooh. Real last comment we're reading. So Brenda talked to a customer that lived in an area that deserved time change, but worked in an area that didn't. Each day was fun. He said, "Oh my God, I can't imagine."
Yep.
That would drive me insane.
That would be 2 clock household.
Yeah.
You know, and the weirdest thing is the biggest problem I currently have with my house is it does not have a kitchen clock.
We tried.
I know. Every one of them die.
Yeah. Every time we put a clock up in the kitchen, it falls to its horrible demise.
Yep.
But alrighty.
Guys, we will see you tomorrow night on Mountain Bears, and we've got some impressive, important. Well, we have two big stories running. One is the state of the emergency we are under. The other is Ding Dong.
Yes.
All right, guys, have a great evening. Bye, y'all.
Bye.